Hello, a very good afternoon to you all you lovely Spurs fans. This is Thfc Till I Die Newsbeat, the home of Spurs present and Spurs past. Now, in the house, we have Mia, my co-host today. How are you doing, Mia? How are you getting on today? What have you been doing?
I have been walking the dog, going to the gym, so I've been quite a busy lady this morning.
Yeah, I can understand. You know, us Greek ladies, we find things to do when we're not even busy, do we? You know, we've got to keep our minds active, you know.
100%.
So basically, yeah. So basically, what I want to do is cover all the current stories coming out of Spurs today. There's very interesting stories as well, Mia. I want to start off with welcoming people into the chat, though. I'd like you to read them for me, Maria, if that's all right.
Yep, no problem. We've
Lovely.
got. Do you want me to just read them off the chat, or are you putting them up on the chat for me to read?
I'll do them. It's all right. I'll do them. Right. So we got Kev Williams.
Go to the chat.
Yeah. Right. So we got Kev Williams saying, "Come on, you Spurs." Yeah, that's the way to go, Kev. Right. Then we've got the lovely Carl Simpson. Right. Good afternoon, guys. Yes, we are, guys. It's Friday. I'm bored of work and it's time for the weekend. Hurry up, 5 p.m. I don't blame you, Carl. You know what I mean, Mia? You know, like when you're at work and you're stuck at work and you don't want to be there on a Friday and you've got to work till 5.
Yeah,
That's not on, is it?
I feel bad for Carl. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. I mean, my working days are over. I just work for myself now, so I'm my own boss. So there you go. I can knock off any time. But sorry about that, Carl. I'm not trying to rub it in. Right. Kev Williams says, Carl Simpson, nearly the weekend, mate. Yeah, true. Very true. And we've got Carl Simpson. Definitely, Kev. Kev Williams, hope Spurs don't ruin it for us. I know what you mean. They better not bloody lose. I'll be after them. Right. Then we've got lovely Moondog. Hello. Good afternoon, Moondog. How are you today? I hope you're well. And then we have Ken Williams speaking to Moondog. Hi, Moondog. And then we've got the lovely Andrew Gregory. Afternoon, Ellie and Mia. Right, and then few more chats. Right, we've got loads of people coming in. We've got Philo123. Come on, you Spurs. Afternoon, Ellie and Mia. Come on, you Spurs. Bring on the Scousers. That's the way to go, Philo. Bring on the Scousers. Carl Simpson, got any jobs going, Ellie? Yeah, don't worry, I've got one lined up for you. Yeah, Harry Kane chaperone when he becomes member of the city. But I'll get into that in a minute. Right, so now I'm going to bring up all the news stories, but I can't bring them up on here. I've got them on my phone. So the main thing is, the main story coming out is about Son's injury, that he's got to have surgery. So with 2 more league games and 1 League Cup game, Mia, how do you think we're going to set up without Sonny? What do you think Conte's going to do?
Well, I'd hope that he will keep the 3 up front still, because I think that works much better for us. I think even without Kulu, that's a much better system. I feel like when there's 2 up front, it's more isolated. But obviously with Sonny out, we've got, and Kulu out and Richie out, we've got limited options. So I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will stick to that. But obviously Perisic can play. Can play all positions, so he could do a job for us up in that position. Obviously we have got Moore and Hill, but it'd be interesting to see what he actually does with it, because I feel like the 5-2 is just doesn't work for us. It really don't.
The 3-5-2, what I find, I think they start with a 3-4-3, don't they? And then if it's not working, that 3-4-3, because sometimes the passing is a bit off in the first half. A lot of people have said there's a conspiracy theory that we try and conserve our energy for the second half, and it seems like that way, but I don't know whether it's a conspiracy. I think they set up to be tight in the first half and not give anything away, right? And then if they do concede, which they have done, just go all out in the second half, and he tends to change the formation a little bit. Do you agree with that, Mia, or you got a different angle on it?
No, I agree. I think that probably I don't think he sets up for us to concede in the first half, not at all. I think that he probably says to them, take your chances if there is a chance, because we have had first halves where we've had some chances. Sorry if there's noise in the background, the dog's snoring on my lap.
It's all right.
People sometimes go like, what's that noise in the background? And once you get used to me, you'll know it's always the dogs in the background. I think
it could be Gazaniga though, couldn't it?
Well, no, I'd have him tied and gagged. Don't worry about that. So don't distract
I'll
me.
get that one in early.
Don't distract me. Talk Gazaniga. But yeah, I think that obviously I don't feel like he sets up to go out and be so negative. I think he probably says to them, listen, keep it tight. If there's chances, take your chances, obviously, if you get that opportunity. But what happens, because we sit so tight, we end up being pressed and being all in our half. And that's where the problem is. So I just don't think that I honestly don't think he sets up and says to them, go out, concede goals and make stupid mistakes. Like, I really don't. I think that he probably tells them to be cautious. Maybe he says to them, be cautious. But I don't think he tends. I don't feel like he actually sets up to be completely negative. I don't think he says to them, go and be negative. I think he probably says to them, be a bit cautious, and it hasn't worked because I don't think he trusts them, Ellie. I don't think he trusts them to go out all gun blazing, because I think he feels like we haven't got the defense to go out and do that, because if we do get caught by a better team, we're going to be stuffed.
I personally think what he's thinking, he knows that he hasn't got the players to play his system as he wants it. All right, so he sets them out to try and be tight in the first half and not concede. But if we do, we've got the ammunition in the second half and we go all guns blazing, and we tend to sometimes leave ourselves open, like we did against Newcastle when they scored again, right? Because we basically gifted them their first goal when Lloris made that gaff. And obviously it could have been called a foul. It could have been, but the referee and VAR said no, so we had to go with it. and then they scored a second goal, and that put us on the back foot. We got one back, and then it was just all guns blazing. But the guns blazing run out of firepower, and they just didn't know what to do in the end, and they couldn't get back into the match because Newcastle, however we criticise how they've set up in terms of getting up there with the best of the best, in terms of their ownership and everything, we won't go into that, but they are a well-organised side, and they've got a very good manager who's drilled them really well. So I think we just got caught out in that match. Yeah, he's a very good manager, and he's a big Spurs fan, by the way. Yeah, I found that out quite a number of years ago.
I didn't know that, and I've always loved Eddie Howe anyway, and I've always said I liked him. But obviously, I reckon that my Spurs heart, I knew deep down. You see, I can spot another one. I can spot it that he likes Tottenham. I'm like, nah, I've always liked him. I think he's a very good manager. I do like him.
Yeah. Right, so now I'm going to move on to Antonio Conte because he's 12 months at the club now. So I want to ask you, Mia, what progression do you see that Conte's brought to our club? What do you think is maybe two things you think say that he's changed at the club in terms of the way we play and other things that you've seen? Even not even two things, other things that you've seen. What Antonio Conte's brought to our club that you like and things that you don't like that you've seen?
I would say that I like that he's changed the mentality. I feel like we are definitely now a bit stronger in our minds where we don't give up. We're not just like, oh, they've scored 2 goals. See, like with Newcastle, we could have just rolled over and not given it our best. But we have scored the most late winners in the Prem, so we have we just have that never say die attitude, and I love that. That's what you've got to do. You can't, no matter how many goals down you are, don't give up the fight, because look what happened when we didn't give up the fight. We won 3-2. Like, when we don't give up the fight, we can win. That's the thing. So I feel like we need to have that never say die attitude, and I feel like Conte has 100% brought that into us. And the style of play, obviously a lot of people were saying last year, at the end of last year, it did click a little bit more. We were just in cruise control, but we did have all our players. We didn't have as many injuries. Like, we have got a really stacking up amount of injuries now. So obviously I think that has made a difference. Not having Kulu has made a huge difference, and Richie as well at the same time is massive for us. So I do feel like people are probably a bit harsh in judging him. When you think about the circumstances, I think that he's got to try and juggle what he's got, and what he's got isn't always what his standard is. So I feel like I can't blame him for that.
Okay, I've got a very good point from Andrew Gregory. He always makes really good points, right? So he said, most important thing is for Conte to change Levy's mentality. What do you think of that, Mia?
Obviously he has to show Levy that what he's trying to do is going to achieve something. So Levy has to trust in him. I think Levy's a bit of a control freak, because he wants to try and micromanage and control stuff. And while that is understandable, when it isn't like just a club, it is a business, and we have to understand this. So he is going to be probably slightly controlling with it, because that's how he's used to operating. But when you trust someone else, you can relax and be like, right, okay, I trust you, I'm going to relax and not be so uptight and controlling. So Conte's got to change him to make him see that he can trust Conte, he can trust Paratici, and what he's going to get them is going to be great. We can get something good if he just trusts him. So I do think that's true. He needs to change the way that he's trying to micro control everything, and be like, listen, Levy, I've got you, man, we're cool.
And that's your number.
Like, that's it.
He's got to show him that he's the boss at the club, I think. He's if you're handing out awards, he's an award-winning manager. Everywhere he goes, he brings titles. All right, he hasn't done so well in the Champions League, but with the titles. But I personally think that the Champions League, he's giving it really good precedence, because the way he obviously he was in the stands, but I think that was Conte's tactics 100%. I'm not taking anything away from Christian Stellini, because he's a lovely guy as well, but he's not quite a Conte. He's still learning the game in terms of he's under Conte's umbrella. So Conte, I thought he must have said to the team, right, go out, don't concede anything. But when they did concede that corner, and that was a fabulous header, by the way, it was a really good, well-taken goal. But our defence was like a bit woeful. But I think the second half, I think he must have sent a message, Dan, change it to 3-5-2. And I noticed that Basuma didn't get much credit, but I actually noticed he'd done so much legwork and running and linking up play, little intricate passes here, there and everywhere. And I was very impressed with Basuma. Not only that, he was getting in biting the tackles, and he was getting stuck in. That I've never seen from him before.
Can we give a big shout out? Can we give a big shout out to Basuma's dancing in the changing rooms? Because Kane, he dances. Kane dances like a proper white man dad dance.
White man's dancing, isn't he?
And Emerson whining on it, and you're like, like he's dancing. And it's so funny with Kane trying to dance. I was like, mate, you can't do. Listen, the two things Kane can't do is free kicks and dancing. Sorry, Kane. You're great.
He can't. No. He should give that up, shouldn't he? He just should stick to his brilliant penalties that he scores and brilliant goals that he scores.
I was just laughing. But Basuma, he's got the moves, Got good moves, that man.
Do you know who I was laughing at as well? Is Emerson. What a groover. He was giving it all the hip action.
Listen.
And he wears those baggy shorts as well. They're like long dog shorts. They're proper basketball shorts, aren't they?
Listen, if you know innit. Them man, they know how to whine it. They know, innit?
Yeah, they do. They do. I'm going to go back on this chat a bit, Mia. We've got good shout, Mia. You're getting plenty of praise from Kev Williams. Good shout, Mia. I would like to see Periships playing up front in a free. Well done. Yeah, lovely. Without Sonny, we have no choice but play 3-5-2. Wonder if is Benny going to be fit? I presume he has, because there's nothing in Spurs chat about his injury. So, on the latest news. So I'm presuming, and I saw him in training, so I'm sure that he's fit, but you never know, because they do go to training to keep fit. Yeah.
Back to what he was saying about we have no other choice, but we do, because I just gave an example. We could play Perisic up there. So we have got options if needs and must. If we do want to still continue with three up front, we can do it. Obviously, just about we can do it if we we have got a chance to do it if he wants to, but he might not start with that and then revert to that if we're not doing well, because Liverpool is going to be a very hard game. It's going to be a very hard game. So I
remember when we played them last season, right, and we drew 2-2 at White Hart Lane, and we had Dele and Ndombele, who actually mucked down that game. I remember it really well. Ndombele was fantastic in the first half. He dropped off a little bit in the second half, but he was still at it. He was still doing more legwork. I think he got taken off about 70-odd minutes. That's the norm for Ndombele. About 60, 70 minutes he gets taken off. But Dele was on it and he nearly scored. And I just remember that we really gave him a game, and that was under Nuno, I think. That was right. Yeah, it was under Nuno. Right, so I'm thinking I would prefer to play 5 in the middle and 2 up front, just because they're so strong in midfield. But having said that, they're not as strong as before. Yeah, no, they're not as strong as last season. So I'm thinking Conte's going to see that, and he's going to say, right, we'll play 3-4-3 to give us more chance of scoring up top, because those 3 players up top, if they're on form, no one in the country can touch them. But the thing is, we've lost Son there. Let's see who he plays. Mora, he can chip in with a goal, but he's one of those players you never know what you're going to get.
It was a little bit hit and miss.
Hit and miss. Yeah, he's hit and miss. But when he is hit, he can be very good. I mean, we've seen snippets of how brilliant he can be, and we've seen a lot of how rubbish he can be. Like in terms of when he runs at defenders, he puts his head down and he loses the ball, and his first control is not that on point. That's how I see him. But I'm not going to dig him out because I do like him. Like you said in our last stream, Mia, he does give 100% regardless. But what do you think? If Conte does play the 3-4-3, right? Do you feel that we've got enough to actually beat Liverpool in this game?
Well, I feel like that they've not been good. Like, let's be honest, they have not been good at all. And I feel like we should have beat them last season. That game we should have won that game. We both games, we gave them a good game, and for them not to beat us, for us not to get beat by them, and to win both of the games against City last season was a massive achievement, because we always end up conceding a last-minute goal to Liverpool. How many times, Ellie, have we gone to their one and gone to their ground, and a last-minute goal, an own goal, or some dumb goal that we've conceded? Oh my goodness!
Goal. Yeah, and it's so annoying. Especially when Firmino scored. Yeah, because I remember then Bergwijn hit the post, didn't he? And then they got vilified for it, and then they go and score in the last minute. Firmino with a header. It's so annoying.
And that's the thing. So I don't think
breaking your TV.
when we've lost those games, I don't feel like we've deserved to lose them. So last season, I actually felt like we deserved to win at least one of those games against Liverpool, because we played really well. So I do think this season they're not good this season, so there's no reason for us to try and to make to win this game, because I feel like they're not that good. Their midfield isn't that good. I feel like their system's been found out a little bit, and they're tiring, a bit like what happened with us with Poch, because that style of pressing you can only do for a certain amount of time, because players mentally and physically can't keep it up. So I feel like they've been found out. They're a bit all over the place. They're a bit scatty with what they're trying to do at the minute, because they're half trying to change it but not change it. It's like a bit weird. So I feel like that we can get at them, because we have got that never say never attitude. Like if we go on that pitch with that never say die attitude and think we can beat these guys, we're not afraid of you, I think we can beat them.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, they've got their star players who can pull one out of the bag, so we've got to be on our game in terms of getting them marked well. Like last year, I remember Davies and Sessegnon at home, especially when he was up Salah's arse, really. He was like right up his arse, and I'm thinking, yeah, go on, Sess, because Sessegnon got a lot of stick up to that game. Right, I remember everybody was giving him stick, and then he played that game, and they said he had Salah in his pocket. And then we went up to their ground and we played superbly, because we played the perfect game at their ground. And we actually did. I agree. I think we actually deserve to win at least one of those games, if not the home game, the away game, because we played very well. And I remember Emerson at Anfield, he played so well. He played out of his skin, and he was roaming around the pitch. He had the free rein to go wherever he wanted. And I think that was Conte's tactic. Because I'm thinking he's up against a really good right wing back, right, in Robertson, and then in Trent. Is it Trent Arnold, the right wing back, and left wing back? Arnold. It's the other way round. Left wing back is Trent Arnold. Right wing back is Robertson, isn't it? Yeah, I think I've got that right. Anyway, but either way, those two players, the weakest one is Trent Arnold in defence. All right, so if we can get at him, he's got a mistake in him, right? Yeah, 100%. And there's weaknesses in their midfield, like you said, they're not as strong, but they have got Thiago, but he's slowing down, but he's still world class, and he can still pick out a pass. So we've got to be on our game. I think if we play to our strengths and they play to their strengths, I think we've just got enough to nick it, because they're not on form either.
Can I just say, because John Fitzpatrick Obviously I respect
Yeah,
everybody's got a different view, and he said no Kulu, no Son, no Romero. I don't fancy our chances, even though Liverpool haven't been great this season. They have always had
yeah,
our number. I hate Liverpool, but they haven't, because last season they couldn't beat us last season, and we
no,
definitely should have won one of those games. So I
yeah,
don't think they have got our game, and I think they're worse than last season. And although he said they've been good in the Champions League, in the Prem, they got beat by Forest. They got beat
yeah.
by Forest. Like,
I
come on,
know.
if Forest can
Come
beat them,
on.
are
They
you
haven't
saying
beaten
that
anybody
us
apart from
with
them.
Harry Kane can't beat Liverpool when we've last season we drew with them twice and should have won one of those games? So when you think about
Yeah,
it logically, we should have won at least one of those games. So we would have been one game we won and one that we drew. So we wouldn't have lost against them. We would have won against one of the one game. So when
yeah.
you think about that, why can't we go to why can't we beat them? Like, I just,
It's
yeah, like,
true. It's
obviously
true.
I want to
Right.
say that I want to be confident in my team and say, listen, last season we did very well against them. They're not the team they were
Yeah,
last season. They've been found out a little bit. They're with Alexander Arnold. He's not a defender. He goes forward and he's fine.
no.
But then when
He's
they kept
fabulous
spamming,
going forward, but defending, no.
listen, if
Yeah,
they just spam crosses into the box, then we can just keep doing what we did last season. Get them out, get them out, get them out. Like, that's what he does. He just spams the crosses into the box. That's all Alexander Arnold does.
yeah. We
So,
need to mix him with Emerson, don't we? We need to get his skills into Emerson, and we've got the perfect player in Emerson. Because actually, Emerson is not that bad a defender. He's just bad going forward because his final pass always goes astray. I don't ever think that I've seen him do a good cross that's found its man. I've never
yeah,
seen it. I'm trying. I'm trying. You know what? It's so easy for him to do that as well, find his man, because Kane is very clever. And Son is very clever at getting pockets of space to get a shot off, right? And he never finds them, and it's so annoying. And Mora's the same. Mora's the same. He whacks it across. Where's the bloody deft touch? Well, they're footballers, Mia, right? They haven't got no deft touch. When I was playing in midfield, I knew how to stroke it across the box, or I know how to glide it so the player can head it with power. But you glide it with a little bit of pace, but not too much so they can't get to it. And on the floor, you roll it like a carpet. These pitches, they're beautiful. They're like carpets and they still get it wrong. I just don't get it. I just
do
don't
you know
get
what
it.
I always said? Like, I said this to when I was on David's show. I said, listen, we need a Kane. We need to clone him, because we need Kane to pass to Kane to pass to Kane, because then we'll be sorted.
Yeah.
Because
I
he's very
know.
clever with
Very
his
true.
passes, and his passes are always on point. His passes
Yeah.
are always on point. That is something that
When he
Kane is
gets it
very,
right.
very good at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
he's
there's
very
been a
good
few
at.
occasions. There's been a few occasions where he's had a bad game and his passing's not been up to scratch, but he's still better. He's still better than 90% of the team. I'd
Oh,
say
yeah.
Kulu. Kulu's got a lovely touch.
Oh, yeah,
I love
Kulu, yeah.
Kulu. Yeah, and Benton Core, even though he's a different type of player, he's like a box-to-box midfielder, because he can pick it up from deep, run with it, and he'll
Yeah.
knock it off to Poybier, do a 1-2, get up the front, and then he'll link up with the wing backs. I like him a lot,
Oh,
right?
I
And
love
he's
Benton.
got a different role this season. I never saw that last season. I think Conte's seen something in Bentancur. First of all, he's very fast. I didn't really realise that he was that fast. Honestly, he's
And
got
he's
a
so
turn of
good on the
speed on him.
ball.
So elegant. He's so
Oh,
elegant. I love him,
he's
and he's
like a
coming into
ballerina.
his own, isn't he?
It's just
Yeah,
like the way he turns the ball is just so like elegant, like a ballerina.
I
The way he
know.
turns it, and he's so
Brilliant.
beautiful on the ball and silky. You're like, oh, it's
Yeah, it's
sexy, very
very
sexy
exciting
on the
to watch.
ball.
Yeah, very, very sexy. And he's a good looking man as well, I must admit. Right.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm going
don't
to
mind
take
a bit
the
of
chat into a
Bentancur.
different direction now, because we've got Atta Chobron, Wembley 1. He said, good afternoon, ladies. Time to question our junior scouting. With the number of key senior players out injured, where are the youngsters pushing for a place, especially up front? They don't exist. Right. So I know on the grapevine, I know that Spurs have got a policy. I've heard this quite a few times, so I do believe it to be true, right? Basically, we don't want to play a youngster until he's 21, right? And I have that on good faith from the club sources and from another person that's actually said it on YouTube, right? So I don't personally agree with it, right? Because if you're good enough, if you're old enough, you're good enough. You know, if you're young enough, you're good enough. Yeah. I just feel that it's a shame because there's many players in our youth team and our under 23s that probably are better ballers and can get on the ball and do a lot more than the current team are doing, right? So, but what I would say is that Conte is predominantly now. He wants players ready now, and he doesn't really do youngsters as such. Very, very rarely, all right? So he wants players ready. So what's your take on that, Mia? What would you like to see happen, apart from what Conte's doing at the moment?
The problem we've got is that a lot of people call for youngsters. So when Jose did it and he chucked some youngsters, everyone was then like, oh, but they're not ready. And I understand, obviously, to know if they're ready, we have to give them games. But big, important games like Liverpool isn't going to be the time or the place to chuck on a youngster, because if he's going to be very kind of like, okay, this is a huge game. It's going to be nerve-wracking. And if he does wrong, everyone's going to be blaming and saying, oh, well, he's not good enough, when he still could be good enough. It's just that's not the time or the place. We've got to understand there's times and places to play youngsters, and a massive game like Liverpool probably isn't the place, in my opinion, to start chucking on some youngsters, you know.
And another thing, Mia, right, that it could damage their confidence if they're playing in the team that we're currently playing in. They're not the best passers of the ball, this team. There's only 3 real good players who can pass the ball well. I would maybe say 4. I would say Skip can move the ball well, Højbjerg can, Kulu and Kane. Right, Bentancur can, but he's more of a box-to-box. He likes to play simple passes. He's not like a killer passer, apart from the one he did to Højbjerg when Højbjerg scored. That was the only real thing. But I find, right, I'm a little bit miffed why Conte doesn't play youngsters, because he's done that all through his career. But, I mean, when he got his break at Juve, he was quite young. So, I'm in 2 minds about it, because I saw Glenn Hoddle, right, I'm going back in the day now, when he was 17. You've seen players, they have to be exceptional. They have to be exceptional to be in that team.
That's the
if
thing.
we've
They
got
have
this
to
policy, but I was going to just say, if we've got this policy that they can't play to 21, I think maybe we're losing out about a year or 2 of their development where they can actually develop with the first team. I've seen that we're doing it with Harvey White, because we haven't really given him a game, but I'm sure he's going to be playing him in the League Cup. I'm sure. I'm about 95% sure that he will get a game along the way. All right. But Harvey White is a very cultured player. I don't know if you've seen him, Mia. He's a bit like Mickey Hazard in a way, but he's got a bit of Glenn Hoddle in him as well, because he can control the ball, he can pin the ball, he's got good artistry, he's a very cultured player.
But can we just be completely honest, right? When Kane was coming through, we sent him out on many loans. We've sent him out on loan of quite a few times to get him experience in other teams, first team experience, before we brought him back and used him. So I just don't see, like, people a bit like, do you forget that? And if you think about someone like Wayne Rooney, he got chucked on early in his career, and he finished his career earlier than probably most people would do, because he was played from such an early age, and that stunts their career. That can stunt their career as well. So I just think that people have been really like, they're not being mindful of the fact somebody like Kane, who came from academy, didn't start for us until he went out on several loans to get first team.
I think he went on about 8 loans, I think it was in total.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was definitely 8, but it was a lot of clubs. I mean, I could name so many off the top of my head. But what I was saying about Harvey White, I've seen a lot of him, right? And I think we should have put him on loan, to tell you the truth. I think we put him on loan once, but we didn't progress him. We've left him to sort of fester, and he's probably quite frustrated because I think he's 20 now. I think we should put him on loan again, all right, because at the moment, League Cup is not going to cut him. It's not going to develop him as he could. Like, he could go to a championship team like Skip done, and look how Skip came. Obviously, he's had 2 injuries since then, and it's put him on a setback. But I can see a lot of potential in Skip. There's a lot that I can see there that he's developed, and he's learned a lot of it from the championship. Because in the championship, it's sort of quite a hassle bustle, fast paced, and you've got to be on your game. And it's similar in the Premiership, but they're more technical. They've got more skill. They can buy time for themselves on the ball. You see, so I think I think you're right. You are right, Mia. But I just think with Harvey White, we've spoilt him a little bit, because I see a great talent there. And then there's another one called Alfie Devine, who's even younger, right? And we've put him out on loan now, which is fantastic. I really am happy that he's gone on loan. But then he got picked up an injury, I heard. So he hasn't really played much for the new team. And then obviously Dane Scarlett, we know he's at Portsmouth, don't we? So, I agree with you. I do. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
See
it's
what happened.
To put them on loan if they're not quite ready. And also, remember, Conte don't like to play young players either.
See what happened with Man United. That was an anomaly. That wasn't normal.
Yeah.
You can't just expect to tuck that amount of young players on and for it to work. That was abnormal, and that probably will never, ever happen again. Because
they were playing for years together, Mia, as well, those boys. They knew each other's play inside that. So when they came into Alex Ferguson's team, he didn't play all youngsters, but he had them a lot. I think he had 6 or 7 at one time. Yeah, but if the team know each other's game so well, when they come to the first team, it's just like playing together against a lesser team, but you just got up your game a bit more because there's more physicality, you know. But those youngsters, they were ready. That's why Alex Ferguson used them. They were totally ready, and they proved it. You remember what they said? You won't win anything with youngsters. Bloody Alex Ferguson proved them wrong, didn't they?
Man, it was crazy. Like, that's the team I grew up with. That's the Man United team I grew up with, because obviously of my age. So, I know that team very well, because obviously that's what I grew up with. And I just think that's something that doesn't happen. I think it's important to give players loans and to get experience, because the pressure of being in Tottenham, sometimes it can be too much. And also you can then weed out if they've got a bit of a bad attitude, because you do not want someone to come in the team with a bit more of a bad, see these young players that get in straight into the first team, they're paid all this wages, and they get a bit of a bad attitude, and you don't want them to have that bad attitude, because you want them to learn their trade, learn how to play football, and then that big lifestyle, that Tottenham glare onto them, then they'll be a bit more level-headed. So then they're level-headed as well, because that can also be a problem, because we've had players in the past where they've had a bad attitude, and we've not rated them because we're a bit like, their attitude's a bit we don't want that either. So we do have to be a bit careful. Like, there's so many factors. It's not what I'm trying to say. It's not as simple as what people make it out to be. It's not as black and white as just chuck a young player on. It's not as simple as that.
True.
It's not. So
true. Yeah, I understand. Right, so we've got Kev Williams here. He said, how have we gone from ending last season smashing teams 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 to being so defensive? Well, you say that, Kev, but we've smashed Leicester City 6-2. We smashed Southampton 4-1. And we've had some very, very good results throughout the season. Okay, we're not playing as attractive football as we did towards the end of last season, all right? But I still think we haven't hit top form. We're not there yet, right? When we do, I just hope we can keep up the winning streak. I don't want to be playing brilliant and then losing. Nah, because winning is the feeder, isn't it? It gives confidence to the players. When I see the Spurs players running on, I can see quite a bit of arrogance and they've got a chip on their shoulder, but it's not a bad chip on their shoulder. I think they feel oh, we can win this match, right? But then when they're set up in the first half, I think that's a deliberate ploy. I really do think that, so that they conserve their energy. So when they go into the second half, if they have conceded, I think they've got enough in their locker to recover the match, like they did against Southampton. The only one I would say where I was quite disappointed was the Arsenal game. That's it. There's been a couple more, like Chelsea, the way we played at Chelsea. We were very tentative and we just didn't get at them, and they like dominated the play when we could have done a little bit more in that game. So Mia, what do you think? What do you think to Kev Williams' question there?
I think it's really difficult. I think that the thing is with us, like, see, sometimes we play the occasion and not the game. So we've had some big games away from home. That's the other thing we've got to remember. So we have had, I think, out of the top six, we've had, I think, probably the most away tough games, because we have played some harder teams away, and them games. So we played the occasion and not the game. So with Chelsea,
very true. Hit the nail on the head there.
We played the occasion because we know we don't win at that stadium. We know that's a bit of a dodgy one for us. So we played the occasion. The same with Arsenal. We know we never get results at their scumbag place. So we know that we don't. So they played the occasion. You know, like, I think that's the issue sometimes, is that we do play the occasion, but we do have to remember we have had some tough away games, and games that we normally would lose, we drew a couple of those. So, you know, it's been a bit of like an up and down, a bit topsy-turvy kind of season a bit so far, because we've had the games that we normally would lose. To be fair, we normally lose against Chelsea, we didn't. We normally lose against Arsenal, and we did lose against Arsenal, you know. So, like, you know, we have to understand that some of those games have been a bit more, like, we've got a bit more than we thought we should have or we could have, and some of those games we should have tried better, but it's a game we tend to lose. So
very true. Right, I just want to take the conversation in a different direction now. So we've got Harry Kane. He's actually given. It says he's awarded freedoms of the City of London. It says Harry Kane will be awarded the Freedom of the City of London at a special ceremony in January. Now, I think that's fabulous news, because what a great player, what a great ambassador for the club as well. He carries our name like superbly. There's no bad stories that come out about Harry Kane, and he's done so many good things. You know, like recently he set up the charity to you know, promote all these good charities to help so many people. You know, with speech impediments and people that are getting bullied. You know, and I think I'll take my hat off to Harry Kane. I think he's marvellous, and like the way he plays for us as well. He plays with all his passion, all his heart. I absolutely adore him, right? And I'll even put him in front of Højbjerg, because, you know, everybody knows me as Queen Ellie Højbjerg, but secretly, right, Kane is my man, really, because I just look at him and I'm thinking he's the ultimate professional, right? You never hear anything scandalous about him. He's always doing the right thing. And I think it's so, we're privileged to have him at our club, honestly. So what do you think? Do you think he deserves it? Or do you think, what I've read, that some people are saying that he doesn't deserve it? What has he done to deserve it?
I think as a man, you couldn't ask for a better man. Like you say, he does a lot of charity work. He especially like with a lot with children, which, you know, I've got to respect. It's, you know, fantastic. To do with like mental health. He just recently done that thing, didn't he, about talking about how you feel and mental health, and you know, it's just he goes to schools and speaks to children, you know, and and the reaction he always gets is like, oh, Harry Kane, you know, when he goes into a school. It's amazing, and it's lovely, and he's just all round as a person. He's just a lovely guy. Like, you can't fault him for, he never ever you never see pictures where even when he was younger tumbling out of pubs drunk out of his head, or, you know, with his eyes like pinpricks because he's been doing naughty stuff. You know, you never find him doing any of that. He's always been a very much a homely guy, because he's been with his girlfriend for a long time now, his wife. He's been with her a long time. He's got his family, he's got his kids, you know, like he's a very much a family orientated guy. And, you know, I big him up for that, and so much respect for everything he does, as far as like as a person. So to me, it isn't just what he represents on the pitch, it's about what he represents as a person. And I think that is so important, because that adds more to society than it does him being a footballer. Because we all say, oh, footballers just over pampered princesses who fly on private jets and they got all this and they got that. But with Kane, he is more than that. He isn't just driving flashy, stupid coloured cars like that Wally from the Scumbags, who played for the Scumbags, with his gold car. Like, what? Why? But, you know, he's not flashy like that, you know, like, so for me, it's about what you represent off of the pitch as more than what you do on the pitch. Because for us, we love him. He's our player, obviously. And we're going to say, you know, he does a lot for us because he plays for us, you know, although he hasn't always turned up in big occasions, I'm going to say again, because obviously I do believe that.
That's all right. We can hear a rumbling from Kildare. As Dermot always says, you know, because Irish Hotspur, you know, he's a big Harry Kane fan. So David, if you're listening, he's got Harry Kane radar. But Mia, everybody's got their own opinion, all right?
Yeah, no,
you said he doesn't turn up sometimes in big occasions, and probably you're right. I would agree with you, because as the Champions League final, I forgive him because he wasn't fit. And then there was pressure for Poch to play him, because if he was damned if he did, and he was damned if he didn't at the end of the day, you know. But that's another question altogether. But in the chat, there's so much bigging up for Harry Kane. Like, you've got Terry Wright. Kane is an absolutely class human being. Totally right, Terry. Totally right.
100%.
You're reiterating what Mia said. Carl Simpson, by then, Kane will also be the top scorer for England, but most importantly, a top bloke who cares. That's right.
That's it.
I mean, I could go for all these comments. Look, everybody, we all love him. We all love him for what he does on the pitch, but even more so now that what he does off the pitch. I'll take my hat off to the bloke. He's got such a great heart, and what he did for Leyton Orient as well. You know, he gave him loads of his own money, and he created a big, you know, and he gave a big pot of his own money, sponsored them. He got us the ladies' game to play there as well, because I'm going there on Sunday at Brisbane Road to watch Spurs ladies play. And when you go in there, you can feel the aura that Harry Kane's created, because even the locals, right, they're talking about him, Mia. They're saying Harry Kane did this for that. Harry Kane done that for us, you know, and it's lovely to hear that he's so well respected.
I think the only people that really get on his back is those scumbag supporters, because obviously because he plays for us. The scum, they do, but everybody else can see what a humble, lovely guy he actually is. And to me, when you're no longer a footballer, what you are as a person says much more about you than anything else. And as a person, when he hangs up those boots and he no longer plays, he can put his hand on his heart and say, do you know what, I did my best for not only my football teams that I played for, but also for the community and for people, because that's what matters. It isn't just being a footballer, it's about being everything you can bring to the society. Because you are a footballer and you've got that recognition and that obviously fan base that people look up to you, you've got a responsibility as someone who little kids look up to you to be a good person, and he is an absolute role model. And if my kids look up to somebody like Harry Kane, I'll be very happy for them to think that that's what you behave like, because I want my kids to behave like Harry Kane does, because that is a respectful, lovely guy. If they settle down with their missus, they're a nice guy, they try and help the best they can with people in their local area. area, do all the right things. That's what you want your kids to do growing up. So Harry Kane is a fantastic role model for young children.
Blow him a kiss, man. Blow him a kiss. I'm telling you, like, he's one of our own, but he's one of the people, right? He's never got a chip on his shoulder in terms like he doesn't come on that pitch and think, oh, I'm Harry Kane. He goes and works. And then when he's off the pitch, he works for all the people that he sponsors, all the people that look up to him, all the people that, you know, look at him, what he's doing, and they admire him and they praise him. And I'm so happy that he's going to get this award, right? Because he fully deserves every last honour that he gets. And like you said, Mia, when he hangs up his boots, his family are going to be so proud of him, but also everybody in the community, not just Spurs fans. Big up this man, because he's got the heart of gold, this man has. Yeah, and all in the chat, they're all agreeing with us, Mia. Like, you've got Cole Simpson, I just hope now we have Conte, we as a club can match what Kane deserves. Too right, Cole. You know, he's been so loyal to us, right? So loyal to us. He could have gone left, right and centre to all the big clubs. Real Madrid wanted him. Bayern Munich wanted him. Man City wanted him. What did he do? He stayed because he saw Conte coming after Nuno as well. And he thought, right, I'm going to stay at Spurs. This is my club. I'm not going to jump ship. All right, some people would say, oh, early doors Nuno, he didn't give his effort, right? But you don't know what was going through his mind. You don't know all the stories were true. Like, a lot of bad press was coming out about him, and it was fed by the gutter press, a lot of it, you know. So I just took it with a pinch of salt. I don't know about you, Mia, but what did you think when he was getting all that stick early doors under Nuno?
I did think that his mind was a little bit like, obviously thinking about he could have moved to City, and obviously to me, if you want to go to City, it's a bit of a cop out, because fair enough, you're going to win trophies, but you could sit on the bench and win trophies in Man City, because obviously giraffe money, that's what I call it. Giraffe money is because you can own lots of giraffes because you've got so much money. That's what I call it. And actually, when I started calling it that on Twitter, when I used to be on Twitter, everyone was picking up and calling it giraffe money. I'm like, yes, my saying has spread, like it's spread out to all the people, because I use it all the time. So I kind of like, I do think it was a bit of a funny situation, and I was thinking he should have been dropped until his mind was straight, because I did think he needed to pull up his socks, put on his boots and play for the team that he's paid for, which was Tottenham. So I did think that was a bit of a funny situation. But apart from that, he's done no wrong. He hasn't done wrong, as in he's never dissed the team. He's never disrespected the team. He's never disrespected any of our managers, no matter who it's been. He's never disrespected people, because you know that from when he's gone on loan to other teams, everybody was saying what a lovely guy when he went to those teams and played even when he was young, going out on loan. What a nice guy, like what a lovely guy he was, you know, young man. He was a nice young man in every team he goes in. So, you know, you can't say that he's not a lovely guy.
And look at this in the chat, Mia. Like, you got Cole Simpson saying, my son is called Harry. I wonder why. You know, that just says it all, doesn't it? When you name your son after the hero,
can I just say, your hero. My mum's cat is also called Harry because of Harry Kane, and my dog's called Ozzy for Ozzy Ardiles. So we kept it in the family. Well, we kept the Tottenham names.
That's really good. Like, I mean, you know what? Everybody in the chat today has been so praising of Kane, and I love it, because, you know, when you hear other channels, you hear so much negativity against Kane from our own supporters, and I'm thinking, why are you digging out Kane when you should be digging out all the losers in our team who bloody didn't win us anything for 8 years? Yeah, like for 14 years we haven't won anything, but for 8 years a lot of those players have been there and they haven't won us zilch. I know he's been there for a long time as well, but he's tried his utmost to win us something, right? He's never gone missing, apart from a couple of times when you said, Mia, like in finals, when you think, oh yeah, we need him, and he didn't quite do it, did he? I agree with you on that occasion. Yeah, I do hold my hand on my heart and I say, yeah, he could have done better. All right. But sometimes, I don't know, with Kane, sometimes maybe the occasion gets to him and he's trying too hard, that he should just relax and go into that final. If I had him and you had him before a final, I'm sure we would win a final, me. I'm telling you, we're fantastic motivators, you and I. We could get into his psyche. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would just say, just go out there and play your game, Kane, because you're a great player. Just show us what you can do. You can do this, and make sure that you just do everything you can. Like, that's all we ask of you, because we just want to see our team win something, and we know we believe in you, and you can do it.
Yeah, Lisa says, well said, Mia, well said, and she's given you 3 claps. That's the sort of thing. Because you know what? You talk from your heart, Mia. You talk from your heart. You're a very honest person, logical person, like you said. You put it all together. You put it out there, and people are really, really warming to you, because they can see that and hear all the things you are saying are from your heart, and also they're from your brain as well, because you're a very clever, intelligent person that puts it out there and says it as it is, all right? And you don't hold back. If you think something is wrong, you'll say it, which is good, because some people, they'll hold their tongue just to be popular.
The thing
I mean?
I'm a very, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and this goes for everything in my life. Like, if you've upset me, I will just come to you and say, listen, you've upset me. Like, I wouldn't do it behind your back. I'll just say it to your face. Like, I've got no problem with, if I've got a problem with somebody, I'll just say it, because I think that it's always better to be straight up with people. And I'm very straight up when it comes to Tottenham, but I also like to be quite positive, and I don't want to keep being in a circle of negative, because that's no good either. Like, I'd like to try and be positive about my team. I've supported this team for a long time, and we've had times where we've been awful, like 14th. When I was a kid, it was shame. You hung your head in shame when you supported Tottenham. When I was a kid, you literally whispered it.
Remember that.
When I used to say who you support, you whisper, you go Tottenham, because you don't want to say it too loud, because you don't want everyone to hear. You're like, dang, everyone's going to laugh and point at you. No, like the Simpsons, ha ha. They're going to do that to you, because they're like, you're 14th, you're rubbish. Like, I remember it was shameful, absolute shame. So we have come such a long way from that, such a long way, and we can't let ourselves get too uppity and carried away. We have to keep our expectations realistic, but we also have to be positive that we have come a long way, so there is positive to look at. So I just like to want people to be sometimes a bit more positive, and look at it that we've come a long way, but we also have to be realistic with our expectations. We can't just, expect it all and act spoiled, because we're not those fans. We're not those fans who act spoiled and entitled, because we're not. So we need to not do that either, because sometimes I see glimpses of our fans being a bit like the scumbag fans, or like a bit Man U fanny, and I'm like, oh no, like don't do that. Like, come on, we have to be realistic, and that's what I try and keep it real.
Yeah, you do. And another thing, with the club's direction at the moment, right? Well, I think we're going in the right direction, because Conte's laying the bricks in the wall to get his House of Conte. I've said this on many streams, right? I saw his interview, and he said, you've got to be patient, right? There's too much impatience in football now, right? So Conte knows that at the moment now, right at this very moment, he hasn't got the tools in his box to go and mount a fantastic title challenge. But it doesn't mean that he can't deliver it, because we're there or thereabouts. What I'm saying is that he knows there's certain weaknesses in the team. He knows it already. You don't have to tell Conte this, right? So he's putting building blocks, like he's putting Kulu, he's putting Bentancur, he's putting Romero. Like, he's got Emerson, but he knows he's not good enough. All right. So he's tried and tested him, but he's improved him. We can see he's improved him from the Emerson that started to the Emerson that's now. There's a lot more improvement, but there's a lot more improvement to go still. But I don't think he's the answer, to tell you the truth. He's not the answer. So I'm sure, right, either he's going to play Spence, which I'm like 75% no, say 80% no, 20% he might give him a chance in the lower echelons of the League Cup or maybe the FA Cup. Try him in that just to see what he can do. But I think he's got his players marked. If Levy gives him the money to get those 2 or 3 players in the January sales, and then the summer is the big one, right? I don't want to be seeing we start off with 3 brilliant signings that he's identified, and then we don't get any more for him. I reckon we need another 4 or 5 so that we've got a much stronger squad. So if we take off Kane and bring on Richarlison, but we've got another striker in reserve as well on top of that, right? And then we've got some creative midfielders, a fantastic right wing back, somebody who's younger that is a brilliant left wing back. If we're not going to keep Clement Longley and either play him as left centre back rather than a left wing back, and then get someone who's younger, who's better than Cess, and then I think he's nearly there to actually mount a title challenge against Man City. Because believe it or not, Man City, they are beatable, but they're the creme de la creme at the moment. Because 4 out of 5 titles, you can't argue with that, right?
No, of course.
And they've placed themselves right at the top already. So we've got to be on our guard.
Can I just add a caveat to that? Man City, before all that money, they did not have many cups or anything or won much because they were a nothing team. When I was a kid, they were nothing.
Yeah, they didn't win anything.
They didn't win nothing. Man City weren't even up there. So, they've won it all, blah, de blah, but giraffe money. Let's just... Giraffe money, you can win money. As long as you've got that money, you can buy all these top-notch players, Ellie. That's the thing. They can buy them. They can just pick and they go, you, and we'll get rid of you, we'll have you, that's the thing with Man City.
It's a well-oiled machine, isn't it? They've got that money, obviously. But what I was trying to get at as well is basically they've put themselves on that ladder, that high-rung ladder. And it's for us and other teams to knock them off it, And you seize power by winning titles. You've got Conte. If he doesn't win a title within 1 or 2 years, I don't think he's going to stay for the 3rd year because he's a winner. He's going to see a project out. He's going to see a project out for at least 2 seasons, I would say. And then that 3rd season, if he hasn't won the title in those first 2, this is the 1st season, right? Real first season. You can't count last year because he came in November, right? And he got us top 4, which is not a trophy. Like Alex Davies says, it's not a trophy, right? Now, he's got to push on. So if he doesn't do it this year or doesn't deliver the Champions League or a FA Cup or a League Cup, then it's not progression if we've just made top 4. That's right. We haven't progressed because we've just made top 4, which is equal to last season. All right. Even if we finish 3rd or 2nd, I don't see that as progression because you still finish 2nd or 3rd. It's Champions League still, right?
Whilst I understand that, Eddie, you've got to also understand that he will only have this January before the season's over, and that's our opportunity, obviously, this season to win a cup or of some sorts. So if we got into like a semi-final or final and we didn't win it, although we hadn't won a cup, I feel like the fact that if we managed to get into, say, the later stages of the FA Cup and the League Cup, like real late stages, I think that's an improvement, because I feel like that could then say at least we have gone further and we are trying to push to win those, because at the end of the day, they're not a guarantee. It isn't always, you can't guarantee we're going to win a cup, and I don't think we should throw baby out with the bathwater if he doesn't win us a cup this year. I think that we've got to understand that he's still building. So this season, I feel we have to give him a little bit of leeway. I think we have to give him a bit of leeway. I don't think it's a complete disaster, because what's going to happen is we don't win a cup this year, people are going to have a meltdown, Conte out, and I think it's rubbish.
A lot of fans are going to do that, but they have to have patience. If they watch his interview, it's a fantastic interview he gives. I can't remember if it was Sky Sports or BT Sports. But either way, whatever one it was, he said, you've got to be patient. We've got a bit, we see the weaknesses in the team. We've got to like put our own stamp. You know, he's going to identify those players that he wants. But it's just this, what I don't like is I don't want him to identify the players that he wants, and then we can get them, and then Levy cocks it up. Do you know what I mean? I don't want him to be like in the past. Levy's always put his little war in, like with Fernandes, with Grealish, with other players that we've gone for. And I'm thinking, no, don't get involved. Just let Conte be the big boss, Billy Big Bollocks, they say, isn't it? Big Bollocks. Let him take the reins, because he's the one with the pedigree. He's the one with the pedigree. Daniel Levy hasn't got any pedigree for delivering trophies, just one in 22 years.
I think, though, to be honest, he does seem like he's letting Paratici sort of go out there and get players that Conte wants. I do feel like he is maybe doing that a bit more than what he has done in the past. But the problem is, Ellie, we can't go by the past. The past is the past. It's, you know, I can't remember what that's saying from the Lion King.
We've got to move forward.
The monkey, when he hits him in the head and he says it hurts, but that's the past. So it doesn't matter, does it?
True. When your mum gives you a slap for being naughty, that's in the past. Be good, and then you won't get a slap.
So what I'm trying to say is that we've got to look forward and see what Levy's doing now with Conte. So we can't keep speculating, oh, he might not do this. Let's just wait and see, because Because if Conte isn't happy, Conte won't shut up about it. He won't be quiet. He won't keep his mouth zipped. So if he isn't happy, he is going to say. But at the moment, what he is saying to every fan is give him time. And I don't understand what part of that fans don't hear. Are you not listening to what Conte's saying? He's saying, give me time, and we need to give him time. So everybody needs to hold their horses, calm the heck down, and think we're in all competitions still, and we're third in the league. People need to calm down, man. Just chill.
The pod is still on. You know, you've got to be positive in life. PMA goes a long way. I mean, when I first started my first job, right, I was a bit tentative, right? And then you get confidence because you learn your job. Yeah, you're learning. It's building blocks, isn't it? When you go into a new company as well, and you're quite frightened about it. And then you start learning and you learn and get the confidence. Right now, Conte's coming to our club, and he's changed the whole ethic of the club and the whole ethos to turn us into, we're winning. We're winning ugly sometimes, but sometimes we're winning because we deserve to win, because we put the effort in, you know. And like you said, that you deserve everything you get out of football. If you put the effort in and you've lost, fair enough, at least you've tried. But when you go on that pitch, if you apply yourself with PMA, go on that pitch and don't say you're better than the other team. Go out there and play to your best ability and play hard and strong, just like Højbjerg does, and just like Kulu does when he gets the ball. He doesn't want to lose it. He curdles it into his body. He's like caressing it. You're not having it. It's mine. You're not having it. Like Ozzy Ardiles used to do. You know, there's certain players in your team that can get you out of a pickle. And you know, we've got players in our team where we can concede the first goal and they can get us out of trouble and win us the game. So I'm looking forward to what Conte's got in his plans. You know, I'm really, really excited, because I just don't want. You know, when you say don't look back, look forward. That's what I want to do.
That's it.
Right, be
that's
positive.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Be positive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Everybody needs to be looking forward instead of going back and looking back at the past. Oh, well, in the past this, in the past that, POCH this and POCH that. Well, I'm sorry, people. I hate to tell you, but POCH didn't win us nothing, and he's a loser. No. So can we not stop talking about POCH? It's like your ex. Like, your ex is your ex for a reason. Like, come on, people.
You dubbed him because he didn't do right in some department.
I'm saying, like, honestly, people need to get over this POCH thing, because it really winds me up. Like, you want POCH over someone who's a winner. What is wrong with our mentality as fans if we want someone who's a loser over a winner? Me, I want a winner, man. I don't want no loser. No losers.
That's
I ain't
it.
got time for losers. See you later. Bye
Yeah.
bye. Like,
Yeah,
no.
and
Like,
winning is infectious. It creates a great aura around the club. I heard Steve Perriman say on his podcast, when you win a cup, it creates such positivity around the club. Everybody's got an extra bounce in their step. They're like looking forward to going to training so much that they want to get on that training pitch and show what they can do to the manager, right? And it's like a knock-on effect. You know, he said, like, you go on the pitch and you're confident that you're going to win. It's not like you go on the pitch and you think, oh, yeah, we might win today. You go on that pitch because you've put that cup in your trophy and you're proud that you've done that for your club, right?
that's it.
So the winning mentality knocks on to other players that maybe didn't have the winning mentality before, but they've won the cup and it gets them to a new level. It takes them higher. Like you see Davis, right? Last season, right? I was thinking, I've never seen that Davis before. And he didn't even win a trophy. He just had Conte as his mentor, mentoring him to make sure that he does all the right things by Conte. Look, do this, do that, do this, and you'll be a better player. The only thing now he's regressed. And I don't get it. I just don't get it with Davis. Because you would have think he would have gone from strength to strength. But I heard the Irish Hotspur, David, he goes, once a turd, always a turd.
I think the problem we've got with players like Davies and Dyer is that you can make them, you can squeeze the last bit of juice out of them, but once they're dry, they're dry. You can't get no more juice out of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's done.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, I think that Conte came in, it was a boost. He gave them confidence and whatever. But at the end of the day, they still are just a dry sponge. You can't get no more juice out of it. Like, there's no more water in that sponge, you know? You can't squeeze any more out. So, literally, I feel like that's what it was. I think it was just that first season, Conte giving them a bit of confidence. But then ultimately, they're rubbish. They're not any good they're not good enough players. So, you know, you can't do anything more with them apart from chuck them in the bin. Although
he's trying to squeeze as much as he can out of them. But how much blood can you get out of a stone? Come on. You know, Conte's a miracle worker, but the fact is they're not good enough. They just ain't good enough and they have to move on. Jog on, jog on. You know what I mean? Right, I've got my niece in the chat, Drula. She said, hi, ladies. Thank you, Drula. Next time you're coming on, all right? Right, then we've got Carl Simpson. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, she also said, Drilla said that, sorry, I wouldn't say Poch is a loser, but I don't want him back at our club. Conte's our man. In Conte we trust. The only thing I'll say about that is that get me the definition of loser is somebody who doesn't win. Did Poch win?
Yeah.
He didn't win. So therefore, in the definitions wise, it is technically he is a loser because he didn't win.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, if you don't win, it's like when you go into an egg and spoon race. If you don't win, you've lost. Isn't it?
You're a loser.
It's anything.
So you're the loser.
You know what I mean?
Like,
you're losers.
you know what I find, Ellie? This generation, they're so scared of telling people that they're losers because they're going to hurt their little feels. They're like, oh, everybody's a winner. Everybody's a winner. We all give you all winner stickers. Win a sticker for you and you. No, you're a loser or you're a winner. That is just life. So we have to get these people to, like, these kids nowadays need to man up a little bit and be like, listen, man, you lost. You do better next time. You lost. That's it. You're a loser. You lost.
So like you learn from losing as well.
Exactly.
If you don't learn from losing, when you go into the next final and you haven't learned, like someone like Serge Aurier, for example, when he came on, Jose came on that Amazon Prime, and he said, you're going to give a shit penalty away, or you'll do something shit, because he knows that player is a loser. Yeah, that's it. But then he still played him. I just didn't get it. Why do you play him if you think he's a loser? Because Jose's a winner. But the thing is, did he have anybody else to play apart from Aurier? That's the problem at Spurs. We need better players so that we can become winners as well. And like Conte's identified, like he's brought in Kulu, he's fabulous player. Bentancur, brilliant player. He can control the ball. He can pass the ball. That's all you need in football. You need players that can affect games. You don't need all these losers who keep on passing it wayward or giving it away and making us leak goals because of it. All right? Against Newcastle, like Lloris comes out. I love Lloris, but he does make some gaffes sometimes. But when he does, sometimes like he'll put it right. Like against Marseille, he had the fabulous game against Marseille. All right, he couldn't do anything about the corner. It was a fabulous header. No one, I don't think any goalie in their right mind would have saved that. But he played really, really well. So he knows himself to put it right because he's won the World Cup, right? So he's experienced winning, right? And sometimes when he comes out and he makes an outburst, like when he had to go at Son against Everton when he didn't track back, and he was like going to fight. A lot of people said, oh, he did that for the Amazon documentary. But if you see him, he comes from an aristocratic family, Lloris, and he's very, very outspoken in the club, right? He'll speak his mind. Højbjerg's the same. He speaks his mind. He tells you when you've been a shit player on the pitch, right? He might not call you out there and then, right? But he does talk. He's a communicator, right? And I remember Harry Winks one time when he scored against Liverpool. Højbjerg scored that brilliant goal to make it 2-1, right? And Winks is coming up to him and he's going, "Go away, little boy. We're fucking losing 2-1. You know what I mean? We're still losing. Yeah. Why you come to congratulate me? You know, pull your weight and do something."
Can I just say to your niece, Julia, I didn't mean it as you. I meant in general in life. I'm not saying that you're a kid because you're saying obviously you're not a child, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, the kids as in like footballers, like they all get this mentality where they don't want to be called losers. Like they don't like this thing where you call people losers anymore. Like it's a funny, weird thing that people do nowadays. It's not anything to do with you. I wasn't commenting on you personally, just so she knew that I wasn't saying it about her.
Go, Mia's told you. Right, so we've got N Fodge, who's from Cincinnati Spurs. Yes, Mia, love your positivity. Not you, and you too, Ellie. Lovely. And 3 love hearts. That's brilliant. Then we've got Cole Simpson. Mia, we must be around the same age. That crap Spurs 90s team battling Everton for 15. You see what I mean? And then we can't look back at these teams because we ain't got nothing to base our football on. Conte's come in and he's changed the whole ethic of our football club. He's trying to turn us into winners. He's trying his bloody best with what he's got.
Can I also just say, right, back then is like when I was younger, is when we won against Chelsea and we won the cup, right? But the fact is that cup didn't push us on because we weren't in the right place as a team, as a club, where now we're in a different place as a club, where I think now a cup will push us on, where before it was just a bit of like, oh, we won a cup, you know, like, I feel like
and then we didn't progress.
Yeah, we didn't progress with it, but I feel like now the club are in a completely different position now to what we were back then. Because when we won the cup back then, we were different. It was a lot different situations. I do think like a cup now would make a difference, where a cup then didn't really make that much difference. We still were rubbish after that. We were crap. Do you know what I mean? Like we beat Chelsea. I remember going to the pub and watching it with my brother when we beat Chelsea when I was younger. But obviously it didn't do anything. So I feel like now it is a bit of a different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's put all that in the past, like you said, Mia. And you're getting plenty of love in the chat. You've got Kev Williams saying, Mia, W, what's the W for? Oh, a winner, probably.
Williams.
That's spot on, really, really well said. Then you've got John Fitzpatrick saying, I think Højbjerg has been our most improved player under Conte. Yeah, and it was really good under Jose for that first season when we made Europa League, but then like we regressed again, didn't we, Mia? Like Højbjerg has been a very, very consistent player and he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's the type of player we can build a team around. Because I think Conte likes him because he sees a lot of himself when he was a player, you know, because Conte wasn't the most technical player, and nor is Højbjerg. No one can put their hands up and say, oh, Højbjerg's a world-class player. He's this, he's that. He's got all these skill sets. But what he does give you is full-blooded heart. He can pass the ball. as well, and he's intelligent. He's got a brain. He's got a football brain, right? So, what do you think of Højbjerg? I've never asked you before, have I? What you think of Højbjerg?
I love Højbjerg. I love that his attitude. I love that he's got that Viking mentality. Like, I love a bit of the Vikings. You've got to love them. Like, you know, that real strong-minded. He does a job for us. You know, he always gives 100% on the pitch. You can always tell. And I think when the whole team went off the boil, it wasn't, you know, Højbjerg couldn't really do anything because everybody let Jose down. Let's be honest, because they all decided to, you know, to be dumb and do that. And you know, so I don't think it's not, you know, it's not basically, it's not a slight on Højbjerg, because every manager that comes in loves Højbjerg because of he's just a, you know, the way that he works, his work ethic is brilliant, and he does such a good job for us in that midfield. You know, you cannot underestimate what a good job he does, you know, and he's brilliant. And the way he's like almost like it reminds me like a bit of a Tarzan. He beats his chest. He's like, yeah, come on, like I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love that attitude.
And that picture where he's going like that at Chelsea, that was class, man, class. I loved it. I laughed my head off, and then I just said, my family know that I love Højbjerg, right? So I'm like very enthusiastic about him anyway. But when he done that, I thought that was so funny, you know, because he's saying, I'm the captain of the ship, you know, respect. Right, so we've got another. John Fitzpatrick says, I think Højbjerg has been our most improved player. We've covered that one. Anthony Gray, I want the incomings too, but a big problem is getting rid of our outgoings. I would agree up to a point, but we've got rid of a lot of them, but on loan. So they're going to come back if those clubs don't want to buy them. So we've got to be on our guard, but Conte knows he's just going to put them in the reserves again, isn't he? Training with the reserves. So he's not going to let them train. So we'll get them out. We'll get them out with the rest of the deadwood in our team currently that we're going to get out, and then he's going to put those building blocks in, like he said, and build that house of Conte, so that we're putting a strategic avenue to get to that place where Conte wants to get. He wants to get to number one. He doesn't want to be number 2, 3 or 4. That's not in Conte's DNA. He's a winner. He wants to be number one, numero uno. He doesn't want to be like the one who, I nearly did it. I'm not Poch. I nearly did it. I'm Antonio Conte. I demand the best. And I demand that everybody listens to me, because I know how to make a club win titles.
See, when I was younger, my dad loved Queen, and the song "We Are the Champions." No time for losers, because we are the champions. That plays in Antonio. That plays in Antonio Conte's head. I swear, that's his theme song. No, like you've got your theme song in your head. That is Antonio's theme song.
I love it.
No time for losers, because we are the champions. That's what he wants, is for us to be the champions. He wants us to do well and to flipping well win. And that's what he wants. And anybody who doesn't know that is silly. Like, I don't understand this thing where people say about Conte, it's like, he isn't a winner. He wants to win. So where's your problem? Like, he wants to win. Do you not want to win? Do you want to come second?
When he loses.
Exactly.
You know, when he loses, he doesn't even want to talk to the players. He calms down because he can't go in, because he's such a winner that if he goes in, he'll bloody kill them all. I saw the interview where he said, I'd rather kill a player. If he's not working for me, I'd rather kill him. I love that attitude. You're not working for me. You're out of the flipping team. You're not getting my team. If you don't give 100% blood and thunder on that pitch, you've come off losing, but you've given 100%. And I feel that you've done your best for me. You're going to be picked for the next team that I'm going to select. If you've dropped, even Højbjerg, right? If he's dropped, right? He's dropped him for a reason, because he doesn't think he's pulling his weight, or he's done something wrong and he's got angry with him and he's giving him instructions to do this, that and the other, and he's not done it, right? So we've got to have faith in Conte, because he knows how to deliver, right? So now we've got Kev Williams saying at John Lamel, is that Lamel? I think Davis has. I really don't mind him being in the defence now. I don't know about that, Kev. I don't know. Davis, he's one of those players. He's not even like Marmite, is he? I just don't like him as a player. I just don't think he has any attributes that I think, yeah, that's one saving grace. That's another saving grace. You know, where you can pass or defend really, really, really well, like a top defender can. He can do the basics here and there, but he hasn't got the all-round game. He's just not one thing that you can say Davis does that's like stands out. I mean, what's your take on Davis, Mia? How do you see him?
I just don't think he's good enough. Like, reliable Ben, you know, he's been reliable at times for us. That's what I call him. That's what me and my brother call him, reliable Ben. I don't have a bad, I don't like hate him. I don't dislike him as a player. I just think he's just not good enough, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, true. That's your little dog. He agrees. The little dog, get him out. Get Davis out. Terry Wright says, to be fair, Royal wasn't brought in to play wing back. He's a right back, and he's been a pretty good one in a back four. I would agree with that, Terry. You know, he gets a bad rap, but I watch him when he's defending. He concentrates, right? He's a much, much better defender than people give him credit for, right? Rubbish going forward because he can't pass the ball to save his life. He can't cross the ball. He's not too bad with passing short little passes here and there to Højbjerg or Bentancur. He can do the basics, but you ask him to do something difficult when he's running down that wing. He just hasn't got it in his locker. I mean, what do you think, Mia? What do you think? What's your take on that?
Sorry, I got distracted because my child decided to come home.
Yeah, well, we're going to wrap up very soon anyway. So, you know, I just wanted to get your take on Royal because he gets a bad rap. Some of it is well deserved.
Royal is probably, he's like an okay player, you know, like he's okay. I wouldn't say he was good at particularly much, like he's just he's just an okay-ish player. You just look at him and be like, meh, you're a bit meh.
Like, he's like meh. You know, you're not going to write to your football coach to sign him up.
No, you're not going to. We're not going to raise the thing is, it's not a player.
We've got boots.
It's not a player that you think to yourself, oh, he's in Tottenham's team, oh, I love him as a player, and there's this about him or this. Like, I just don't feel like he's got much about him either. As a he's probably like a nice guy, but he's just on the pitch. He just got nothing about him that you think, oh yeah. When he gets the ball and goes forward, I'm like, he's going to cross it. It's not going to get anywhere. What's the point? Just don't give Raul the ball, man. When he's got the ball, I'm like, pass it, give it. Like every time he gets the ball, I'm shouting, give it, because I'm like, don't keep the ball because you're not going to do anything with the ball. So what's the point? Like, what is the point? So I get a bit like frustrated with him.
Yeah, he's got all the physicality and no bonds, has he? Or no, the passing ability. You can improve on that if you work on him. You can work. But I just don't think he's one of those Brazilian boys. I think he gets a rush to his head, doesn't he? Because you know, when you see him in and around when he's training, he's not fully focused. He's like always larking about, just like Aurier used to do when he was at training, playing like cricket and all that shit, FIFA and all that shit. You know, concentrate on your football like Kane does. He goes on that training pitch. His only focus is to practice his shooting, right? Get better, even better than you can. I don't know how he can improve it. About it. Yeah.
Did you see this morning? Did you see this morning? Perisic, he went in. He had 2 days off, and he still went into the gym to train. Now that is the attitude you want. You want somebody who's you've got 2 days off. No, gaffer, I'm coming in. I'm going to train because we've got Liverpool, and I want to be on my top game because we're going to play against Liverpool. That is what you want from your players. You don't want them to be playing FIFA or Fortnite until midnight and whatever. No. No. That's not what you want.
I read an article about Bentancur, and he was talking about that after the game, he doesn't switch off. He's like so focused of what he did right and what he did wrong. And he'll go on that training pitch and he'll work on what he did wrong. And it's the fruits of his labour on that training pitch is paying off, because he's the first one in training. I know this from the club source that I've got, right? He's such a good bloke to have around as well. He's so positive. Right? You need those type of players to be winners. You know, you need those type of players to pull you out of a pickle when you're stuck. And you saw him against Marseille. He stepped up. He thought, right, I'm going to grab this game by the hook or by crook. We're going to win it. And I know it was Højbjerg that scored the goal that won us. But I was looking at Bentancur, man. He was like a man possessed on that pitch. He was fabulous.
He was all over the place. He was everywhere. It was like there was 10 Bentancurs on the pitch.
I know.
Because you're looking there, and he's like, He's there. He's there. Bloody hell, where's he popped from?
Yeah.
He popped up everywhere on the pitch. He was literally not having a bar of it. He was like, we ain't losing this damn game, man. We're not losing.
You know what I mean? I'll take my hat off to Bentancur, man. He was like awesome. I think that is his best performance that I've seen from him. Even when he came on and he had that little cameo role and he done that brilliant turn and he got everybody going, whoa, we've never heard that since Glenn Hoddle days. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or even Modric days, you know, where they can pick up the ball, spin and go, you know.
So beautiful.
And he's got such a turn of pace as well. I love him. I'm just glad that we've got him at our club, you know, because we've got a chance. You build a team like players like that, of that ilk, who will give you everything and has got the skill set to deliver. He's a winner. That's what I call it. That's the definition of a winner. Somebody who goes home and thinks what he's done wrong. Right, thinks what he's done right, and even puts things that he's done right to a higher echelon. Yeah, that's what I call a winner. And he doesn't sleep, he said. I was reading the whole article because I was so engrossed in it, Mia. He goes, he can't switch off, right? But he has to switch off because he needs his 8 hours beauty sleep, because he's a very good-looking man, isn't he? Right. So let's wrap that one up. There's a few more comments in the chat that I'd like to address, just so that we cover everybody and we're fair to everybody. We've got Rob Belcher. It's more difficult than ever to win a trophy up against Mia's team, City, the Camels. Is it the camel or the giraffe he's put there? It's a camel, but we're talking about a giraffe. And now Newcastle are on the block. They're the new kids on the block, aren't they? Newcastle, with their money.
Draft money.
Oh, do you know what? I'd rather win the title Conte's way, with the budget that we've got, and he wins it, and he's deserved to win it, because he 100%. Hasn't got all this money coming in and feed. He identifies his players, he puts that building block in, he identifies another one, puts that building block in, and then he's got his ultimate team that are going to challenge and win it. They're not just going to challenge, they're going to win the bloody damn thing. Yeah.
Do you know what, right? Listen to this. I don't say it too loud, but Pep doesn't win anywhere without money. He doesn't win unless he's got money. And people raise Pep up like this absolute don of a manager, and he hasn't been anywhere. We hasn't had fantastic players to start with, or he hasn't had a massive checkbook, right? So you cannot tell me that Pep's if he come to Tottenham, he would not have achieved what he achieved at Man City. I'm telling you now, he would not have achieved it
so far either. What Conte's done.
That's another thing for people to think about, right? If Conte, if Pep comes to Spurs and he would no way achieve what he achieved at Man City. Why is that? Checkbook, because he had all the money in the world to spend. So do not tell me that Pep, you like about Conte being this manager and that manager, what he's about, right? Because when you've got Pep, who just literally buys everything that he wants to win something, you know that they're not a tactical brain. Their brain isn't wired into certain players, because obviously Conte has to think about it a lot harder because he hasn't got the checkbook that Pep's got.
Yeah, true. Very true. Well said, Mia. Well said. And then we've got Greg Spurs saying, Mia, Conte will show those POCH nostalgic losers what he's about soon. Well said, Greg.
Yep.
You're just reiterating what Mia said, but you know, you recognise, you put your chat in, and we appreciate it. Drula, my niece, Conte's changed everyone's mentality at the club, down to the cleaners. Too right, Drula. You know, he said in that interview as well that I watched that he's creating a family. He feels part of a family. He feels accepted. Every club he's been at, even though he's delivered the trophy, he's never really thought, oh my God, I've been accepted. I've been like hailed as the king of this place. Right? He's coming to Spurs and he's getting due respect because he's changing that mentality of the club from losers to winners. So let's go. Let's back this man. Let's not harp on about Poch. What he did, he took us to the Champions League final, but he didn't win it. He didn't win it. And he made drastic mistakes along the way, playing Harry Winks in the final, Sissoko in the final. These players weren't good enough, you know. He should have replaced them so that he had better players in place, so that when we went to that Champions League final, we had our armoury in place to battle Liverpool and beat them. But we bloody lost. All right, the first minute, it was a bit unfortunate that it hit Sissoko's. But if he wasn't there in the first place, that wouldn't have happened, would it? Do you see what I mean?
The problem we've got, Ellie, is that people don't understand that it's twofold. So we got into semi-finals and a final and we didn't win it. Yeah. And it's down to Poch and it's also down to those players. So it is twofold. But people don't want to say that about Poch because they're too busy going, oh, Poch. But they don't understand. He got us there, yet he still could not complete the task. He could not complete the task. He didn't get us over the line. He did not win us nothing. They are the facts. They are the 100% facts. And some of that is down to players. Some of it is his choices that he made, and he made mistakes. So some of it is the players, some of it is Poch. But people don't want to admit that, and they still carry on putting Poch up on this pedestal of he's like the best manager. You know, we want him back. No, we don't want him back. We want someone who's going to win us something back, to win us something. We don't want something back that we didn't win nothing.
Yeah. What I would say as well, Mia, right? A lot of people fell in love with the personality of Poch. You know, they fell in love with the personality rather than the deliverance of what he didn't achieve, right? Because he's very personable. He was good with the press. He was a yes man. You know, if he was a top elite manager, when he needed that money would have been provided, right? It would have, because they would have seen something in him that they would have invested. Right, but they saw it was on a downward cycle because before we got to that Champions League final, I don't know if you remember, but we lost so many away games. I think we didn't win an away game for 10 months, 10 whole months, and we got battered. The early doors, we got battered by Bayern Munich. We were shameful against Bayern Munich. Started off very well with Sonny's goal, and then we bent over and died. You know, so you've got to remember all these other things that happened with Poch.
Can I just say as well, right?
Spiral. Yeah.
Can I just say as well, right? I like when other teams hate us. I like it that CONTE, people dislike us and they don't want us to win, they hate us. I didn't like it when Poch was on, we had Poch, everyone was like, oh, Tottenham are such a nice team. It's like a little kid. You know when you pat a little kid on the head and go, oh, you're cute, even though they're really ugly. You're like, oh, you're cute. No. Like, I don't want that. When we won against Chelsea when we drew against Chelsea this season and we shouldn't have won because of Romero pulling his hair, I was like, they hate us. I fucking love it. Sorry, excuse my language, but I loved it. I'm like, you know what? I loved it. I'm like, hate us. I don't care. I want you to hate us. But with Poch, it's all nice in that. I don't like that. I'm like, I don't want other teams to like how we play and be all nice to me. I want you to hate us, because then when you hate us, because you know we're a threat, that's why you hate us, and that's what I want. I don't want to be nicey. No, I want us to be hated. Hate me, I love it. Great.
It's like when Alex Ferguson built his dynasty. Everybody hated Manchester United because they were winning left, right, and centre. Liverpool couldn't even get close to them in the 90s. They didn't even win. until like 2019 they won the championship, the league title. Sorry, no, 2020, didn't they, or 2021? One of the two. Yeah, they didn't win it the year we won. They beat us in the Champions League. It was the following season. Yeah, the year after. Yeah, so like if you're an elite club, you think like an elite club, and you want people to hate you as well, like you said, because that means you're elite of the elite. You've made it, and you've got haters trying to pull you down, but they won't pull Conte down because he's a winner, right?
That's we've
got women like winners. We do. Why would you want to lose them? You know, it's like when you get married, you don't want a husband who's a loser and doesn't go out to work and earn you a crust and put food on the table, you know, and do everything that a husband should do, you know. Anyway, Kev Williams says patience and money will bring us success. In Conte we trust. Well said, Kev.
That's right,
well
Kev.
said.
In Conte we trust,
well
Kev.
Said.
That's right.
Yeah. Drula, sorry, I wouldn't say Pochettino's a loser, but I don't want him back at our club. Conte's our man. In Conte we trust. So, Drula, right, so you're saying that he's not a loser. So what is the definition of a winner? Somebody who wins, like Mia. He did lose. He did actually lose. He didn't win us anything. So I'm not digging you out, Drula, but he didn't actually win us anything. He won. The only thing he won us is maybe a little bit more respect because we got to the Champions League final. But when we lost it, that went all down the pan. You know, if we'd won it, and he got us over the line, yes, I would say he's not a loser, but he lost everything that he got into. Like, we lost the League Cup final to Man United. We lost the League Cup semi-final to Chelsea. There's everything that went wrong. And then losing so many away games as well. You know, that's not on at Spurs, is it? Come on. Even the worst team, when we were finishing 15th or 16th, they didn't lose that many away games. You know, that's what you've got to look at. But, right, Kev Williams says the World Cup has a lot to answer for. Performances, Ellie. Wales making the first World Cup in over 50 years. Yeah, do you know what? And I think Wales could be a little bit of a dark horse in there, in England's group, you know, because they play with all their passion, Wales, right? They could be a surprise package there. And they've got Gareth Bale. So you've always got a goal there from nowhere, a spectacular goal. What do you think? Do you think the World Cup is going to spoil a few performances at our club? You know, are they maybe saving themselves for the World Cup?
Yeah, I do feel like it's in the back of their minds, definitely. I do feel like when something's in the back of your mind and you're kind of thinking about it a bit. And so when they're on the pitch, they're probably thinking about being injured and playing for the World Cup. So they're thinking, oh, I don't want to get injured, or, you know, I don't want to use up too much energy.
Do you think that's right? Do you think that's right though, Mia? Do you think they should buckle down and bloody pull their socks up and play for their club as well as their country?
The fact is that their country isn't paying them, their club pays them. So they're privileged to go off and be able to be allowed to play in the World Cup, because we can technically stop them. So, you know, we could tell them, no, you're not allowed. So to me, it's a privilege that they get to go and play for their country, but they shouldn't then sacrifice their club because of that. I think it's out of order. But then the World Cup this year is in such a strange time anyway. It's just really messed everything up. Like, it's real strange because we've never had this. It's unprecedented. We've never had a World Cup in the middle of a season like this. So it's a very strange one.
What Tony Young says, it reiterates everything we've said in the chat, in our chat, sorry, Mia. Because like he said, and Cliff Jones said, Bill always said, go out and play for the fans. We're the fans. We know what we want to see. We want to see winners. We want to see players that are playing with their utmost ability to get it over the line. You know, we don't want to see losers nearly getting there. We nearly won the cup. We nearly won this. No. We want winners. We want somebody like Conte. He's instilling that. So we want winners. We want to win a trophy and then win another trophy, then win another trophy. And stop winning trophies. You know, don't stop. keep on winning them, because that's how you create success at the club. You know, and you get more buying power with the players who want to come to your club, because they see you're a winning club and they want to join the bandwagon. You know, they don't want to come to a losing club.
The problem as well is like that people forget our history. We were the first team to do the double. We were the first team to win the European Cup. Like we have got a history of winning.
First team last century to do the double, but it was Preston North End who done the double first. But you are right. We did do the double, and it was the first team in 64 years, Mia. That's how hard it was to do it.
That's what I'm saying. And so, like, people forget we come from a winning history. When people try and tell me you've got no cups, I'm like, educate yourself, because do you know what? Before the draft money came to Chelsea, they actually didn't win as much as we had. We won more than them up until that point. Then they got their money. We had won more than they did. So, like, people need to understand that we come from a history of we have won, and we just need to get back on track. And it is much harder nowadays than it has ever been because of the money. It is a lot harder to do, but we've been in positions where we could have done it, and we just haven't got over that line yet. We just need to get ourselves over that line, because I think that will install that mentality into our players to think we are going to win. And like, everyone should learn the history of Tottenham, who comes to Tottenham, so then they know what we come from. They can look at those older players, and say, yes, they were winners, and we want to be like them. We want to be a winner, and we've got a winning manager now, so we've got everything set up to win.
And not only that, like the things that we done as pioneers of football, like the push and run side of 1951. Bill Nicholson, our manager, played in that push and run side, who won the league title. So they'd won the second division, the old second division, which is now the championship. And then they came up, and straight away they won the league. And then they didn't push on. They had a fabulous push and run side, but they didn't push on. And then it wasn't until 1960-61 that we did the double. But like, Bill Nicholson was made manager in 1958. By 60-61, he had delivered the double that no other manager had done for 64 years. Now, that's what I call a club history. Right? It's not, he didn't do it with money, he did it with a pittance, but he scouted his own players from the tea lady, like Jula said, to now what Conte's doing. He's building a family. That's what Bill Nicholson done. He built a family, so you all know each other, you all play for each other, you've got a heart in the club. So we've got to do that. We've got to instill these things from our history. A player comes in, you say, look at this 1960-61. I'd make them watch them. I'd make them watch them. Say, look, this is what they did, how they played, the style of play they, you know, you've got to make them want to be proud to play for Tottenham Hotspur, right? Mia, where was you born? In North London, I presume, or was it South East London?
I was born in Dulwich.
Dulwich, right. So, right, what made you become a Spurs fan? What was it that attracted you?
Because my nan on my dad's side, she supported Tottenham, so she supported Tottenham and spoke about Tottenham. So me and my brother, we carried on the tradition of supporting Tottenham through my family, like through my nan.
So your nan must have seen the 1950s team and the 1960s team, because the 1960s team, right? We cut out, not the 1950s team were fabulous, but 1960s team, they done the double, right? I'm not saying the 1950s team weren't as good, because they were, because my dad told me how fantastic they were. But then when we did the double in 1960-61, 62, we nearly done it again. We finished third in the league, and we just took our eye off the ball because we were concentrating on the FA Cup as well, because the FA Cup in those years had a lot of glamour. It was the cup to win. Right? If you won the league title, yes, you were but when you won the FA Cup, it was like a really good, it was magical to win it, right? And then 62-63, we done the European Cup Winners' Cup. And then nothing until 67, because the team was aging, right? And then Bill Nicholson tried to bring in players to make our team better, but they weren't quite as good as the other ones. Yeah, they weren't quite up to it to deliver the league title. So 67, and then we didn't win anything to 70, 71 when we won the League Cup, and then 72, 73 we won the League Cup. Or was it 73? Yeah, 73. 71 we won it. 73 we won it. So then we didn't really push on again. So it's been like a bit in fit starts in our history. Although we've had a glorious history, we've never dominated like Manchester United. So we've got to learn from that. We've got to learn from that. So when we are dominating, stay on top. Don't let it slip.
The only thing I think about the Man United dominance was, again, with Alex Ferguson and that team that he had with some of those youth players was a very unusual. It took him time to get there to make them win so much. And now with City, because of the money, they've got the dominance because of money. So it's much harder for another team to stay dominant, much harder than what it actually probably used to be, because Man United obviously were dominant for a really long time, but that was because of pure Alex Ferguson, that young those youth players. It all sort of came together. He was very good at reinventing the team and keep revitalizing it to keep winning. And once he left, look at Man United now, like they're nowhere near to what they used to be. So Alex Ferguson was part of that key
standard.
That was part of their key.
He led the team with an iron rod. Like, I mean, there's the famous hairdryer bit with David Beckham. There's other stories that coming out. I heard Rio Ferdinand saying about when Berbatov signed, they tried to indoctor him because they knew he was a lazy style player in the Manchester United way. Because you don't just go on the pitch with a swagger. You go on the pitch with a swagger to win, not just like be an entertainer. You're entertaining, but you're also there to win. And that's why they brought in Roy Keane, because he was a total winner, that player. He never shook hands with anybody in the chat. Hello?
Can you hear me? Oh, I'm not sure what happened. I think Ellie has frozen maybe. Because can you all hear me in the chat? Can you give me a yes or a thumbs up if you can hear me? I presume that. Can you hear me? Can someone in the chat please let me know if you could be heard? Okay, yeah, I can be heard. Oh wow, I'm on my own. This is scary. I'm not going to lie. But I'll wait for obviously Ellie's going to have to come back. I think she might have to log out and come back in again. So I'm not sure if it'll affect the stream or not, guys. But anyway, we'll go through some more of the chats. Why not? While we're here, I can't remember where she was. Let me go back to see. Rob Belcher, there was an anniversary of the death of Sir Billy Nick a couple of weeks ago. The present ownership didn't even recognise the event. Disgrace to them. I completely agree. Obviously, that is a really big disgrace. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what they were thinking not to say anything about him, to be honest with you. Like, you know, it's a bit of a an odd one. I don't know why they would do that, to be honest, when obviously he was something that was great in our history. Go to Rob again. Being an old git, I can remember the glory days. What days they were. They were indeed. I wasn't alive, but I obviously know about our history. So my nan spoke about Tottenham, so of course I learned along the way. Tony Young, and we spent the money then. Jones, Medwin, Blanchflower, Mackay, White, Brown. That's who we bought. Everton have spent well. David Clark, hi from Leicester. I've just been informed that for reaching the last 16 of the Champions League, we'll receive 64 million euros, which includes BT TV rights and So no more excuses for Levy. Indeed, yes, definitely no more excuses for Levy. Obviously, I hope that he backs. I hope that he backs him. I'd like to think that he is going to back him, and so far he kind of has done. So yeah, I hope that he obviously will. Let's see. David Clark does. This information comes from a financial expert on football finances. Okie doke. Lisa, you're fine. Thank you. Someone told me. I can't message Ellie because on my stream, if I come out of it, I'll come out. So yeah. Rob Belcher says again, they say that Fergie was one defeat from the sack. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, he was actually one defeat from the sack. Fergie was it was a bit of a mad one with Fergie, that he did take time, and obviously he got to where he got to. So yeah, we all remember Man United. I used to watch Man United a lot because they used to be on TV, and you know, I could watch them, and I love David Beckham. So I often used to be watching Man United, and that team was pretty damn good. What else have we got? We've got oh, Lisa said you'll message Ellie. Thank you. See what's going on. Oh, okay. Lisa's messaging. She's messaging you. I don't know whether I should end the stream or not. So if you can just let me know, please, Lisa. She can't log on power cut. Only WhatsApp is working for her. Okie doke. So I think then I'm going to end the stream, because obviously I can't do it any other way, because I'm not logged in obviously as the main person, so I can't do anything else but leave, I think. And I think the stream will end, I think, anyway. I hope so. Oh, I'll let you know. Okay, thank you, Lisa. This is why I don't do YouTube on my own. I feel like just sitting here chatting to myself. I'm not entirely sure I like it. I bounce off other people much better than I do on my own, just chatting to myself. So yeah, thanks, Rob Belcher. Great content, great people having on the chat as well. Everybody on the chat is so nice, which is really cool. Oh, Ellie's calling Dermot. Okie doke. Yeah, yeah, it's nice to have nice people in the chat, because obviously it can get a bit heated sometimes. Everybody's got their own opinion, and I completely respect it. Like, I always try and say that I respectfully disagree, unless you're talking absolute nonsense, which I will then just say, listen, you're talking a bit of nonsense there. Then I will disagree and say, yeah, stay on, Mia. Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much. See if Dermot can get on, because I think if I leave, I'm not sure that it automatically will end the stream, so I'm not sure what will happen. So if Dermot can come on, that would be ace to help me out. Oh, apparently Kulu is going to be back for Liverpool. Oh, that is very interesting. I don't think he'll play him for the full game. I think I've got a feeling that he might start off then with the two at the top, and then maybe bring on Kulu, because of the amount of injuries that we actually have got, which will probably be a bit more sensible, and then get Kulu on later. So that will be actually very interesting to see Kulu back on in the team. I'll be very, very, very happy to see him back. And obviously, if he comes back a couple more games before the World Cup to help us out, because we've got Leeds as well, and we've got Forest. So, yeah, we definitely need him back, especially with the Sonny injury. So that would be really cool to have him back 100%. You're doing great. Thank you. I try. Like I say, it's just very strange talking to people on YouTube with nobody talking back at you. Not what I'm used to at all. Yeah, what do other people think about Kulu being back? Do you think that he'll pay Kev Williams, we can beat them Sundown positive. I love that positivity, Kev. I'm on board. I'm on the positivity train. I'm the same as you. I feel like that they've not been that great. Last season we could have beat them, and we should have beat them in at least one of the games. So to me, I don't feel like that we have to have to worry, as in we should be scared, not that we can't beat them. I really don't think we should be scared of them. I feel like we should give it our best shot anyway, even with Sonny injured, obviously, and any other all the other injuries we do have. Apparently, there's an agreement in place to bring, I can't say that name, yeah, I'm not going to try and say that, in January. He's an attacking midfielder with a worldie of a left foot. Oh, interesting. So have you spoken about who you think will join our front line? No, I haven't spoken about that. I think, what, for Liverpool, July, or do you mean in general for January? I think that we definitely need to bring in some backup for defence in January. So although even if we do have an agreement to bring a midfielder in, I feel like the defence is where we've got a big problem. So I would like to see us bring in someone to defend as a backup, because I don't think that with Dyer, I think he's not good enough, and obviously with Romero out, it's, you know, it is looking a bit bad. Do we know if Dermot can come on yet? Does anybody know, Lisa? Sorry, just seeing if anybody knows. Let's go back and see if I've missed any comments.
Hi, just very quickly, I'm on here to end the stream.
Thank you, Dermot. I was feeling very lonely sitting here.
All right, thank you, Mia, for taking off. Ellie's had a power cut, that's why she's had to come off. I'm quickly going to end it all. We're back tonight at 8 o'clock for the THFC Till I Die supporters show. So please, the link will be put into the community section on the YouTube channel, and please get in, have your say about Spurs for the weekend. Mia, you've been a star for covering for Ellie. Thank you so much.
No worries. Smash the like button, everybody. Don't forget to smash that like button. It's free.
Yeah, it is free. Subscribe, hit that like, and we'll be back tonight at 8. Thank you so much, Mia, and thank you all for watching.
No worries, Dermot. Right, thanks so much, everyone. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.